Right, hello everybody, I'm Shard and today I'm here reviewing the new indie game Mind Path to Thalamus by Carlos Coronado. I'll also put that name up on screen just in case I'm pronouncing it horribly or just generally wrong. I'm pretty bad with names. Mind Path to Thalamus is a first-person puzzler that throws you into the story of a troubled father as he grieves the loss of his daughter and his journey to redemption. In Mind, you are led through a mysterious and honestly beautiful world by a narrator who seems to be yourself but telling you the story of the events that you're currently doing in-game. As you progress, you will have to learn how to control certain elements in the world, such as if it's raining or not, day and night, and even time itself eventually, and by changing these you can solve some puzzles, reveal pathways, and continue your journey forwards. Mind is a really relaxing experience most of the time, with cleverly crafted puzzles which require the use of exploration and experimentation to complete them. And these lead you to see some wonderful spectacles that are presented in this world, and I don't say this very lightly because pretty much every area in the game had me searching around it or just sitting in awe at how beautiful it was, whether it's the environment, the lighting, or just reflections in the water. When the game starts, you're immediately placed in a small coastal town shouting a girl's name and you're frantically looking for her. When you turn around you realise that there's a huge tornado about to hit the shore and you're searching for your daughter. You make your way down to the house, narrowly avoiding a boat that gets thrown at you from the tornado. Cupboards fall down, lights go out and flicker as you search, and it actually had me really anxious as what's going to happen, and what I was going to find while I was searching this house. This is one of the many times that Mind gets you really involved in the game, unable to look away, and from the very start it throws you straight into a truly epic scene. On your travels, the narrator talks to you as if he's telling a story, revealing things that have happened to him, things about where you're headed, but always keeps you guessing and wanting to carry on to discover exactly what he's on about.
First, I saw myself reflected in the shallow sea, and I wept.
The use of this narration helps to keep the game flowing even when you're in an area where you're simply walking forwards through another fantastic environment. You never have something not to look at or listen to, and it keeps your mind locked in this new world that's been presented to you. The narration can get a little bit repetitive, with some points being brought up time and time again, but it does do it for a reason, so it can be overlooked. Throughout your travels you'll be taken to a whole host of places, each completely different from the last and each wonderful to explore. You should hopefully see in the background a few examples of these places so you can see them for yourself rather than me just trying to explain them to you. Each place brings a completely new feel, whether it's a sunny, endless expanse, an unreal icy cave, or a tight constricting corridor that gradually closes in around you. These places invoke wonder and amazement and sometimes even fear if that's what it wants to bring across. As well as the story being told through narration, it's also seen in the environment itself, so that you can come to see things in the world that even though you've never seen them before, you recognise and understand the significance of them. Whether it's a fallen cupboard like the one that fell over while you were looking for your daughter, or seeing the characters' memories in the reflection of the ice. This is one of my favourite parts of Mind and what really brought the story to life. The in-game puzzles revolve around a few main elements as said before, the controlling of aspects of the environment like weather, day and night, and even time eventually. When they're toggled, they reveal or activate different things in the world. All of these are toggled by being within different areas or leaving these sorts of wire balls there to keep it on permanently, but of course they're small in number and must be used correctly to progress. Puzzles are divided into different areas as well, each of which introduces their own special elements to add. For example, a wire ball that glows to help explore dark areas at night, which gives each area a completely different feel even though the main aspects are still exactly the same. The puzzles are very simple in a way. They don't require perfect timing, any difficult platforming, it's just knowing what to do in what order. So don't expect any fast-paced gameplay when you play Mind, but it is very slow and calming. It gives you lots of time to look around and explore, time to think about what the impact of what you're going to do will be on the entire area that you're in. They're very rewarding puzzles to complete, even though they might not be the most fast-paced that you've ever seen. Something I just want to mention is there isn't a single word of tutorialization in Mind. The only thing you get is a prompt to tell you to move the mouse at the very start of the game to turn around, and the rest is completely up to you to discover. I really enjoy games like this because they don't bother teaching you that the arrow keys help you move and bore you with that kind of stuff. It also makes the story much more immersive because the narrator isn't saying, and I had to press control to crouch, and ruining the vibe. But also it's because other than the arrow keys you don't press any buttons at all other than clicking to drop these wire balls. And I've only just really realised this, and I find it quite amazing how a game with this much depth did it all with so few commands. The soundtrack for Mind is all music by Chris Zabriskie. I'm also going to put that name on screen because I also don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. and suits the really calming nature of the game perfectly. It's the music you'll hear in the background of the review at the moment, and it helps you just relax and concentrate on the game rather than worrying about anything else that's going on around you. If you like it, then there will be a link in the description so you can take some time yourself to go and listen to the rest of his wonderful music. The good parts of Mind is that the world is a joy to explore, as you've hopefully realised by now by gameplay in the background. I really like how everything is a bit rugged and not perfectly aligned, as it gives the world a more realistic but also the dreamlike feel that they're going for. The puzzles are a really good difficulty and build on previous elements discovered, so you're never at a loss of what to do, but it still does require some thinking. It's also very calming with whole areas where you just walk, and this will obviously be good for some but bad for others. The narration keeps the game flowing and brings a deep story that you get involved in and keeps you wanting to move forwards throughout the game. There are a few things that could be polished on Mind, and there are a few things that hold it back. While exploring, I found myself coming into contact with invisible walls much sooner than I would have thought, which was a bit of a shame. For a world that looks so large, sometimes you are quite confined on where you can go. The wire balls that you have to carry when picked up are directly in the centre of your screen, blocking your vision of where you're going, forcing you to walk awkwardly, just like looking out the left side of your screen or something, trying to see around this ball in the middle. If this was moved to the bottom middle of the screen instead, it would fix the problem, but for now it's just a little bit irritating. As good as the narrative is, it can get a little bit repetitive by the end, but you hardly notice because you're too involved in the rest of the game. I was able to beat one of the levels purely by walking up a slope I don't think you're meant to walk up, which bypassed the entire puzzle. And finally, later on in the game, there are a few things that seem out of place and don't fit with the calm nature of the game, but if I said what they were, they'd ruin the story, unfortunately, so you'll just have to trust me. They don't harm the rest of the game at all, and there's nothing wrong with them, it's just an interesting turn of events that you're maybe not expecting. Overall, Mind Path to Thalamus is an experience I rate very highly. It has some small issues, but nothing that can't be easily updated if my opinion's shared with other people, and the positives greatly outweigh the negatives anyway 100-fold. The world you travel through is full of surprise and wonder, and is so diverse you'd actually never expect to find it all in one game. The story is deep and immersive and is shown so well in game that you get truly dragged into it. The puzzles are brilliantly thought out, and I want to say simplistic, but I also don't want to say it at the same time because that gives the idea of it being kind of bland, but it's not. Every one of them is unique and a challenge, and new elements are added every time, just those elements are so subtle that they're not explicitly noticed every time because of how seamlessly they're implemented. It was honestly a joy to play this game. It ran between 3.5 and 4 hours for me to complete, but if you're somebody that plays in parts then it may take a little bit longer. It will cost $13, so around £10 I think, but I'm not 100% sure of that. So if you've liked what you've heard and seen in the background, Mind Path to Thalamus will be on sale today, August 5th, on Steam for PC, and coming soon to Mac as well. I hope you've enjoyed this video and that it was helpful. If so, a like would help it spread to others that are also looking for this information, so would be greatly appreciated. Also, you can subscribe to our channel if reviews and gameplay from indie games is what you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope to see you again sometime.